was hopeless for two men were used and handed him as if he had wore a sack of potatoes. They dragged him over to the sacrifice slab, threw him onto his back, and tied thick leather bands around his wrists and ankles. When they stepped back, he couldn't move. So this was where it ended. This was what it had all been for. Richard was shouting, "Leave him alone. Why hurt him? He's just a kid. Let him go." Sir Michael held up a hand for silence. "Matthew is not just a kid," he replied. "He is a very special child. A child we have been watching for almost half his life." Miss Devil pushed her way forward. She was dressed in the same clothes she had worn in London, together with the lizard brooch. Her eyes filled with hatred. I want to be the one who cuts his throat," she rasped. "You will do as you told," Sir Michael replied. "I have to say, Jane, you disappointed me. You very nearly let him get away a second time. We should have locked him up from the start." "You're the one who should be locked up," Richard cried. "You're all bad." "We're not bad," Sir Michael turned to him. "You know nothing. You live in your own cosy medicure. Would you completely blind to the greater things? What are you happening around you? Like so many of your kind, but this will all change. I have decided my entry life to this moment. The operations alone have taken more than 20 years working night. And the day did Professor David tell you about us? Did he tell you about the old ones?" Sir Michael paused, but Richard said nothing. "I will assume that he did, and you probably thought that he was mad too." "Let him assume you. The old ones exist. They were the first great force of evil at one time. They ruled the world until they were defeated by a trick and banished ever since, when they have been waiting to return. That is what you're about to witness. Your friend Matthew is tied down the very mouth of Ravensgate." Sir Michael spread his hands. "That is where we are now, and the gate is about to open." The villagers shivered with pleasure. Even Miss Devil forced a thin smile. "The forces that created Ravensgate know that they were doing," Sir Michael continued. The gate is unbreakable, unopenable, unremovable. As it seems, for centuries our ancestors tried as long ago as the Middle Ages for hundreds of years, from generation to generation. They passed on the accumulated knowledge, their spells and rituals, but nothing worked. Until now, we are the chosen generation because we live in the 21st century. We have new technology, and there is a power that we can harness. The same power existed the day the world was created, but it only becomes available to us as a short time ago. Nuclear power. The nuclear power, the power of the atom, He walked over to Matt, who straight upwards trying to break the leather bands. He forced his shoulders off the sacrificial block, but there was nothing he could do. As Sir Michael approached, he slumped back. Do you really think it's so crazy to draw a parallel between the power of the nuclear bomb and the power of black magic? Sir Michael asked. Do you really believe that a weapon capable of destroying cities and killing millions of people in a few seconds is far removed from the devil's work? To me, it was obviously I saw that the two different powers could be bright together, and that together they could do not what nothing had ever been able to do before. When Omega One was built, I used my influence to ensure that it was built here on the very spot where the Ring of Stones, Raven's Gate had stood. The ancestor stone circle would be continued right here in this reactor room. If it hadn't been destroyed beneath us, the reactor has almost reached a citizen mass. It is as if a gigantic bomb has been buried in the heart of the gate, waiting to blow it apart and allow the old ones through. I built Omega One and was also in charge of closing it down. Once the government had finished with it, I managed to dissuade them from actually realizing it to the ground. And as soon as everyone had gone away, I set to work quite rebuilding it again, and it took me for more than 20 years working with the villagers, the children of the warlocks and witches, who have had inherited rebelling for centuries. But how did you get the uranium? Richard shouted. It is impossible. You told us so yourself. You'd never get the uranium. There was a time when it would have been impossible. Sir Michael agreed, and it was still extremely difficult, but the world has changed. The collapse of the Soviet Union events in Serbia and Yugoslavia was in the Middle East. There were mercenaries and territories crawling all over the planet and finding ones we could do business with. Was only a matter of time. They too served the old ones in their own way. We're all on the same side. For 6 months now, we have kept the station going, feeding the reactor, priming it for tonight. Believe me when I tell you the reactor works. Soon I will give you the order for the last control rods to be lifted. This will raise the art to critical levels, and the gate will melt and open. You'll all be killed, Richard said. Only you will be killed because only you are outside the circle. That's what you think. That's what I know, Sir Michael pointed to the symbol painted on the floor. For centuries, magicians have painted circles like this for protection, and they will protect us right now. If the radiation leaks, we won't be touched by it. The heat, no matter how fantastic, won't burn us. Only you will die Matt. Richard demanded. Professor Devereux didn't tell you. Sir Michael smiled. The three ingredients of a Black Sabbath ritual: fire and blood. We have dated the rituals. We have created the fire. Now Matthew will supply us with the blood. He picked up the knife and ran a finger along the blade. Blood, he continued, it is the most powerful form of energy of a plant. It is the very life force itself. Sacrifice has always been a part of magical rule because it represents a release of the power. There once again is this connection. The medieval witch splits throats. The 21st century witch splits atoms. Tonight we shall do both, but it doesn't have to be him. Richard instead. Why, Matt? Because of who he is. But he is nobody. He's just a child. That's what he thinks, but it has to be his blood. This is the moment that he was born for. This is enough. Mr. Let's get on with it. Sir Michael looked at his watch. You're right, it's time. Matt couldn't move. The slab was cold against his back. The lava bands held him tight. Inside the observation room, a switch was activated for beneath the ground. An electronic magnet gripped the control rods and began to pull them upwards. Centuries and centuries of villagers joined hands. Eyes closed slowly. The nuclear rods were sucked out of the nuclear pile. Sir Michael walked to the middle of the circle and stood above Matt, the knife in his hands. It was 12 o'clock on the night of Rhodemus. It was time to open the gate. Subscribe in Roger, like, thank you. Click on my screen, thank you.